ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః హరిః ఓం జ్ఞానానందమయం దేవం నిర్మలస్ఫటికాకృతిం ఆధారాం సర్వవిద్యానాం హయగ్రీవం ఉపాస్మహే. ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవాయ. ఓం నమో నారాయణ. Astrology is a very fascinating subject on this planet Earth. Many thousands of years back, many civilizations have tried to understand the nature, understand astronomy, and also tried to find out the mysteries of our existence. In this tenure, our civilization basically has given a remarkable subject in terms of our existence, in terms of knowing our life, and in fact to say, rather than knowing the future, they started adopting how to live our life beautifully. That is where our Vedas came into existence. Most of the other civilizations, they had their own theories, they had their own style, they had their own books written. But here, in our civilization, most of the parameters were predominantly looked upon in a very scientific manner. Our ancient people started looking at the universe, understanding its functionalities, and also taking a cue from there, looking at the replica here, how our life is. Based on that, they started having a correlation between the universe and our existence. Then they started to find out the purpose of our existence and what completely boils down to spirituality. All the civilization went into the same mode, but not in a scientific manner. To a larger extent, I can say, but at the end they came back to God and spiritualism. But our civilization, especially our Vedas, prove how to lead a life. Not 5,000 years back, or not 4,000 years back, or 3,000 years back. Forward 5,000 years back, or 10,000 or 20,000, our Vedas will definitely stand unaltered for billions of years to come, if our earth exists, and if our scriptures, our knowledge, what we have gained and passed on through generations, if that is maintained, definitely the Vedas which were written thousands of years back is even today relevant for our life. It's also relevant for future generations to come. That is the beauty of our civilization and our ancient people wisdom. What we are all looking at technology today, they all had found this technology much ahead in those days. So taking a point from there, they also started looking at astrology, how it impacts human lives, how it impacts the climate, how it impacts the environment, how it impacts the complete earthly elements here. So from that point of view, people started practicing, I can say it as practicing astrology, more related with the environmental astrology, or Medini astrology, or mundane astrology, which is more of environmental, where they devised many areas like Samvatsara. From Samvatsara they calculated Ayana, from there Rutu, the seasons which they call. From there they came to the months, which month based on the lunar cycle. Then they started with Tithi, the first half and second half cycles. Then they started with the Karna. Then they started with yoga available in that. Then they also integrated nakshatras. They all, as in a room, we look at the clock and say the time based on its whether morning, AM or PM. But our ancient people devised a wonderful wisdom given to us. They started looking time based on within the cycle of the moon, cycle of the earth, cycle of the sun around the galaxy. That's a bigger time they started knowing it about. So our time was completely dependent on the heavenly bodies, and they also started integrating the other associated planets in our solar system, and were engrossed in checking how the impact happens on planet Earth. Is there any climate change, or is there any earthquakes, or is there any tornado? So all this they started studying, not only on the impact by only on the planet Earth, how the other planets are influencing it to make in this way. There was a very large study long back. Of late, when things changed from last 200 years, not 200 years, more than around 400-500 years back, the astrology has taken a deviation from knowing the future of the planet Earth and giving a caution how to save it, how to enhance it, how to improve it, so that natural disasters, even the name disaster has got a aster in it. It's a astral. So you can know what is a disastral means. Disaster, aster, name itself says that there is a astral body involved in it. So natural disaster, how to avoid it? Is there a direct or indirect impact from the planet? They started looking and they started correlating what happened long back and how the same planetary positions which comes for a period of many years, will it have the same impact? They started analyzing this and giving to the society to have a happy living, to how to look at it. It's in simple terms, a person born today, even if he is in the first standard, second standard, for him to understand Mother Earth would take a lot of years. He should understand the cycle, he should understand the rainy season, the winter, the summer, how the earth behaves, what are the times, there are wind times, rain times. So our olden days people started giving this across well in advance without we experiencing it. So in the same way, they also give us astrology for a period of time to the society without experiencing. You don't experience, it's already been done. No need to go and experiment it, what happens next. Just go, check yours and just be happy. So in this last 400 years, 300 years, the astrology got completely deviated from the environmental astrology to, it started deviating to personal astrology. That is where a new name came into the picture known as Jataka Palam or Palajyotishyam. This is what took a deviation from there. Once there was a deviation in that, though many mantras or whatever the things given across by sage Parashara is been taken even today also, there is a lot of things which people have added it, which is not actually available in the main scripts, which is not available. Like Sade Sati is never available in any old script, which is just somebody started it from the north and it just flew down from north to south. And even people today blindly talk about Sade Sati. There are many subjects in this which has just cropped up recently. Sade Sati, then even Mangal Dosh. Mangal Dosh also just cropped up probably around 80 years to 100 years ke andar. It was not in a very big way, but recently again from the north Manglik started, and last 15-20 years it's bombarding all the people. Everybody are talking मैं मांगलिक हूँ, तुम मांगलिक है, only मांगलिक marry, only this. That's what it has come down to, the menial level. Astrology has come to the lowest menial level, only looking at what is Sade Sati. If I have a problem, Sade Sati is affecting me. If there is a marriage issue, there is Mangal affecting me. Or if I don't marry, there is Rahu, which is the Sarpadosh, or Kala Sarpadosh, which is affecting. These are the only three major things which is flowing across in the Indian market, astrological market. There is nothing different that this person is going to be a great person, or this horoscope is a fantastic horoscope which will be a boon to the mankind. So these kind of horoscopes analysis have completely gone haywire. People are not looking at a person born, how is he going to perform in his life, how is he giving a contribution to the environment or the people, what is the achievements or inventions or discoveries he can make. So these have completely washed away, and people started using this science as pseudoscience, and when this astrology, where there was a completely a different segment of people who are only learning astrology and implementing astrology, checking astrology on people, that got diminished, and this went into the hands of all the temple people, temple archakas. They also started prediction. Here the chunk was more, and the real astrologers were very few who have learnt, who wanted to implement the real science, real Vedic astral science. That went down, and if you see the population of astrologers, they are very less. Dear viewers, you have to understand this point I am clearly telling. Those who have learnt clearly in terms of astrology, the divisional charts, Ashtaka Varga, then there is also the divisional charts are known as Shodasha Varga. In that clear mentions of divisional charts of Drekana, Navamsha, Dashamsha, Saptamamsha. This study population became very, very less, and they predicting also came down. We can find in very few people across, where many institutions are writing magazines like the Indian Express Astrological Magazine. There are many in Bangalore who write astrological magazine. Only those kind of people are giving the real picture of our ancient knowledge of astrology. Rest all this janta, what I can call the janta crowd, who has taken up this astrology, they have just made up to their own style and started implementing doshas. That something bad is there in your horoscope. One thing we should all think, there is a two deviation. One is completely those who are involved in godly activity, like a dharmadikari or somebody who is a pontiff in a temple. He talks about dharma, how to be in life, and he takes the cue from the Vedas. There are second people who take care of the deities. They started adopting this astrology for their perusal, but did not completely adopt what is the real Vijnanam in that. That is where astrology today, the belief has gone away, because they started implementing their own 3-4 rules. There are only 3-4 rules. You go there, you can just check with them. They only say 2 or 3, 4 are problems. If you are going for education, they say, okay, 4th house, somebody is sitting, they have a problem. If Saturn is sitting, okay, education is dull because Saturn is a very slow planet. Rahu is there. Rahu is a planet of illusion. Okay, because of Rahu, he is not studying. There is Ketu. He is a planet of what do you call, without headless guy. Then he will not study. There is Mars. They say he is aggressive behavior. Mars, Mangliko, he will not study. Come to job. They go to the 10th house and check what is the planets there, or they check the Drushti there. If some bad planet is sitting, Saturn, okay, he is a lazy fellow, he will not get job. If Rahu is there, he will not be interested in going to job. Ketu, Saturn. There are 4 planets especially which is quite bad, and they implement that these planets are bad. There is no say from anybody that Venus is very bad. Have any people, any of you people have heard saying that Venus is very bad? There is a Venus dosham? No. The entire crowd, the entire population is talking about these 3 main planets. One is the Saturn, one is the Rahu, one is the Ketu, and the Mangal, which is the Mars. 4 planets. Occasionally they will take Sun, some Pitru dosh ke liye. Does Jupiter doesn't make any problem in anybody's life? This is the question. The so-called the Janta people who have adopted astrology for telling their clients or their bhaktadis or whatever it may say. This is what they have adopted. There is no introspection that does Jupiter always does good for any person on the earth who is born in, if you are getting into astrology. Does always Venus favor a person if his dasha comes or if he is sitting in a very good position? Does Mercury, which people call it as a planet of business, does it doesn't impact negatively? When you all just think in this way, with real open mind, you will feel that something wrong is happening in our society in terms of astrology. If there is a marriage problem, look at the 7th house. If somebody is sitting there, yeah, because of that guy, you don't have marriage. If the 7th house is vacant, they go to the 2nd house. If the 2nd house is vacant, they go to the 9th house. In these 3 places, definitely you will get one or the other guy out of the 9 planets, because we only have 12 houses to talk about. Only 12 houses to talk about. There is very less experience in astrology. The Janta, those who all talk about just seeing the chart, the small piece of paper they look at, and only look at the chart there, without going into the divisional charts, without knowing the proper yogas, only talking about the doshams itself, will say that inexperience in astrology. Anybody talking about doshams, it's a clear indication that they are inexperienced in astrology. Because astrology, people say that yes, it's a vast subject. Yes, I do agree. But people have not learnt in that vast subject. People who are going there and asking about astrology, they don't know the person's background, how long he has spent to learn this. Vedas will take some time. Yes, I do agree. Agama Shastra will take. But astrology, 12 Rashis, 9 planets, 27 Nakshatras, and their placement. Finished. Where this 27 Nakshatra is divided in this 12 Rashis, where all it is being placed based on the Pada, that they are know, and they will just demarcate Rahu is bad, Ketu is bad, Saturn is bad, Venus is good, Jupiter is good, Mercury is good, and Moon is somewhat neutral. It's branded. Once the branding happens, all the set of people who have learnt, who are inexperienced and also learnt very less, they go by the branding. They will never go by the Dasha Bhukti system, they never go by the timing, and they never go by introspecting. Is astrology only this much? And you go to any astrologer, the so-called I can say, they only talk about few doshas. You might have heard about this. So you have Sade Sati, which is running, they say. If some problem is there, there are many options in the horoscope to tell negative. High options are there to tell negative. Marriage problem, you have Kala Sarpa to tell about. You have Mangala Dosha to tell about. You can say 7th house, some sun is sitting there, he is bad. Simple, because we all branded it that these people are bad. Nobody is talking about the Dasha system at all, which is the center point, the crux of astrology. People, that 5% of the entire population, of astrology population, is only learned this in the proper manner, understood astrology, and they are adopting, and these people say that there is no mention of any doshas. It's only a good time and a bad time. There is no mention of any doshas in any written books. And most of the books available in the bookstore, or you go to Amazon or anywhere, you can see the author. They are all well educated people. You can see the author. I am telling you, please listen to my words carefully. Most of the people who have all written astrological books available in the market, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, you check in all the bookstores, wherever it is available, was written book, they are all highly educated people who have written how the planet affects the human being in terms of certain areas, and they have never mentioned there is a dosham in that. No, there is nothing called a mention of 7th house Saturn sitting there will delay marriage. Nothing is they have mentioned, and they have never mentioned as a dosham. This is what the information I wanted to give, very strong message to all the viewers, that astrology doesn't contain any dosham. There is no so-called dosham available. It was all somehow went to the hands of the so-called people who do the deity puja, and people started thinking that they are also knowing astrology, and people started flowing there. Whatever little bit they have learned, they got a standardization. They got a standardization saying that Rahu, Saturn, Ketu, Mars are bad. Okay, just implement that. Finished. There is no mention of Sandhi Shanti in any of the classical text, in any of the books written by famous astrologers. In my house, approximately I have around 450 books written by various authors, which I have collected from past 25 years. All the books I have studied, and just I start recollecting. Is there any book which says about this? I don't find any book. You take, I have a lot of marriage books available in that, lot of job books available in that, lot of business criteria, famous, which planet makes us famous. There are mentioning of Saturn sitting in certain position, certain Navamsha, certain degree making a person famous by Saturn. They also mentioned Rahu, which makes a person famous in foreign land. There is Ketu, who will become very famous as a yogi. These kind of books I have learnt, and many astrologers, the real astrologers, have learnt in this manner. There is no mention of any doshams anywhere in that book. There is nothing they have mentioned about Sade Sati in any of the book which I have read. There is a last mention, because of the big population where they have made a standardization that these are only the doshas, and just tell them and do some puja and send them off. People have started disbelieving this subject, because wherever they go, they only talk about 3 or 4 dosham, and is that the end? And people talk. Okay, astrology is so big, vast, and they only talk about 3 or 4 doshams. To find out 3 or 4 doshams, is it so much time required to learn? This is what I just call for everybody to introspect. Is this what our astrology is subject to be taken forward in this way? Just talk about doshams, and is the astrology doesn't deal with any improvement in our life? It doesn't show any area that this guy will become famous or this guy will become a boon to the society. Can't we find that out? It's only go there, talk only about our wants, only talk about our gaps to fulfill there. That is where people have become so materialistic and ask, when will I make money? When will I join a job? When will I do a business? Astrology is beyond this actually. Astrology is beyond this. Because I come from ICAS, Indian Council of Astrological Sciences, and we have a fraternity of around 400 to 500 people. All are famous people in different walks of their life. Some people are into law, some people are into medical, some people are into engineering, some people are into teaching, some people are big business people. Many people have learnt this in this manner over a very vast years of time, and they have understood there is something good science behind this, and which is driving us individually, but not the doshams. Never the doshams. This is the bit of information I want to give it to all you people. Please understand this, to know better what is ahead in your life, and start planning. And you can also have a precaution in that. And we have to wait for the time. Just pray. Praying will make the time stronger. That's it, period. Nothing else. You can never prepone to a larger extent. You can prepone to a smaller extent, and make the time, the given time, if it is also medium or little weaker, it will make the time stronger and gives us the required desires, what we desire for this life. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu.